Welcome to the Kawartha Small Business Podcast, where we believe the Kawarthas can be the most thriving region in Canada for small business. I'm Brian Rump from Profit Coach.
And I'm Matt Garrity of Managee Digital.
And before we get started, head over to kawarthasmallbusinesspodcast.ca/checklist and download Matt and Brian's marketing checklist for Kawartha Small Business. We are live we're recording from Thrive Podcast Studio at Thrive Co-working Community at 18 Kent Street West in downtown Lindsay. All right, Matt, today we are talking about what's going on in October. So we have, or I guess not October, September. Oh, look at me and my lovely use of the calendar. So what is happening in the business community?
Thrive's got a lot of cool stuff going on this month. September 15th, our friend of the show, Dennis Geelan. Did I say that right?
Yeah.
Nice. Dennis Geelan. He just released his latest book, The Accidental Solarpreneur, and an online course. And he's doing his book launch on the 15th at Thrive, which I think will be a lot of fun. You are doing a conversation on the 21st, the 6 ways to optimize revenue and profit in your business. Those are a couple things going on at Thrive that I'm pretty excited about. Intentionally kind of a quieter summer as people buckle down, but the idea in September is to get focused on your business work again this month. So
awesome. Yeah. And then, we'll tease a little bit. October is always Small Business Week. There's a lot of stuff that's going to be happening here at Thrive for Small Business Week, which is the week of the 17th of October is the Monday. So that week, if you're a small business owner, there'll be lots of stuff going around, lots of big brands. It's a national week sponsored by BDC is like the official one. We're doing lots of unlicensed, unofficial things to celebrate that week, but I think Thrive is going to be the place to be for businesses that week.
Thrive is the home of Small Business Week in the Kawarthas. I think they actually officially kick off Small Business Week on the Saturday or the Sunday, but we're kicking it off Monday the 17th. We'll do an extended Monday morning coffee for the podcast. So if you're an entrepreneur or a business owner, existing business, new business, aspirational business, come over to Thrive and just chat, get focused for the week. We're working on a bunch of stuff for that week, but some confirmed things. I'm doing a lunch and learn about SEO on the Tuesday, October the 18th. So live coaching to get found on Google, which is going to be critical for every small business in Lindsay and Kawartha Lakes in the coming future. If you are not getting found on Google, your business is not going to survive in the next few years. Not to be super dramatic, but I actually truly believe that.
I think it's a truth.
Fair.
For most businesses. There's some exceptions, but probably not too many exceptions. So
on the Wednesday, because like I was saying at Thrive on the Small Business Week, we've got something every day going on. We're working with Cashflow Tribe and myself to do what they call a Work With You Wednesday, which is going to be a whole afternoon of in-person type of workshop on social media. And I don't think it's going to be me lecturing from a mountaintop as much as I would love to do that. I think it's going to be more hands-on, showing people how this is how you start this is how you build this, and going all through that step that whole afternoon. On the Thursday, October the 20th, our aforementioned friend of the show, Dennis Geelan, is coming back for the Solopreneur Playbook workshop, which I think will be really fascinating. Dennis has got and had done some workshops here in the past and continuing that with the Solopreneur Playbook. And then probably the most hotly anticipated one would be on Friday, October the 21st, with Brian Rump of Profit Coach. It's the 6 things you need to optimize your business for revenue and profit, like a full day intense workshop.
Yeah, that is going to be, you mentioned before in September, I'm doing a keynote talk. We're going to go over those 6 things, but on that Friday, we are hammering into an hour of each one. There will be a bit of me talking, but this is designed really to be a workshop. Limited space. There's literally 8 chairs in the room. I don't want to pack it too full, just because it gets not as good of an exercise. But this is really designed to be very strategic, and you will walk away with a whole new view on your business and a plan for sort of what to do next. So I'm really excited about it. So hopefully we get some people coming out. So if you're listening and think I need that, reach out and we'll get you on the list. Again, limited attendance. Pretty awesome.
Yeah, I'd love to see lots of people here for that week. It's a fun week. It's a week to kind of focus on entrepreneurship and small business, and just, again, a time to kind of embrace and enjoy that, but then throw in some PD, professional development type of time. So whether you want to come check these things out, or if you wanted to do some sort of presentation, conversation, workshop at Thrive, more than happy to have that conversation and figure that out. Like I'm always more than excited to have those things happening here. So
yeah, that's awesome. So yeah, that's October, but for September, we got a couple weeks left in the month for sure. I think the common theme, you talked about it. A lot of people are sort of getting back to business. It's that time of year where kids are back into school and that natural planning. I think there will be people who open businesses. They really get into planning for next year, and I think that's a thing that will come up. I think another what's going on is we've got SEBA loans coming up, so a lot of people have been kicking the can down the road for some paying those things back, and I think for those who don't have a plan to pay it back, it gives them a reason to be like, oh, it's time to plan some things, or like either pay it back, got to get a loan, like you kind of get by, but then there comes that time of like, okay, I need a real plan to be profitable. So I think we're going to start seeing that a lot. I think impact of pandemic slowdown, people maybe behind on HST filings, just different things in business where you kind of get through, but it's not really sustainable happen. And now we're seeing, interest rates are going up. So if you are borrowing money, it's getting a little bit more expensive. So I may be wrong, and I probably am wrong, but I feel like businesses are going to be more into planning, into addressing some of these systemic issues that they have, so that they can get onto a formula of being profitable.
And you hear about people saying for years, like, things are changing, things are dramatically changing in business this year, and have because of COVID. Everyone's going online. People are moving like crazy. There's a lot of different demographics, and the landscape has changed so much, whether it be Lindsay, Kawarthas, or elsewhere. It's changed forever.
Yeah, change keeps changing. I think we've had a big shock, and now things will start not leveling out necessarily, but we're going to start seeing the impacts of that a bit more. I think I know somebody who helps with like consumer proposals, and they're getting calls from business owners all the time. So I think there's going to be businesses closing. We've been seeing a lot of action of businesses opening up. So I think, again, businesses will be opening. There's new people in every market. There's just opportunities everywhere. So I think we're going to be in for just a busy time for a lot of people. Speaking of businesses opening, I saw there's a business, I believe it's called, I did write it down, Cheek in Peterborough. It's like an 85 square foot shop on Hunter Street, sort of across from the Only in Gordon Best. So that's kind of cool. In Lindsay, we have the Sweet Kitchen opening up soon. Kindred Cafe opening up soon.
Gusto
is a new restaurant that's just recently opened. So it's just really neat to see those, the action of businesses opening. We've had over the summer, I was surprised, not a lot of activity, but then at the same time met several people opening up businesses or planning to in the next little while. So I think we're going to see towards the end of this year and then in the spring, sort of a lot more businesses opening.
Yeah, and not to change the subject dramatically, but this month, and you're going to be like, well, this has nothing to do with what we're talking about, but the Lex is on this month,
Oh yeah,
and the Bobcaygeon Fall Fair. We should talk about sponsorship at those places one time. It's interesting.
oh yeah.
Anyways,
Like you want to be a sponsor? at
well, maybe
that?
I do, but
Or
let's
you're
talk
just-
about does it make sense?
Or you're just curious to see who
Oh,
sponsors it?
I think there's a conversation to be had about if and when it makes sense about sponsorships at events, maybe
Oh, yeah.
in general.
Yeah, I think
'Cause-
that's a whole conversation we can have because I think it is one of those. Just briefly, it's frustrating to me because I always look at who sponsors it, and then it's like some make absolutely no sense. You'll have people who don't have a website, but yet they will be like the lowest. They'll spend $500 to sponsor an event, and they're like buried in a list of sponsors. So someone like me who reads those lists are like, who's that? And then I can't find them. So I think that's kind of like burning money, although you do get some impressions. But then I think with so many people at certain things, it's a good way to make sure people know who you are or become aware of you when you see the banners around. I think sometimes you get lost in like, here's a fence with 800 banners and our sponsors on it, so it's hard to stand out. But it's also an opportunity to stand out.
Oh yeah, for sure. I think like ultimately it's awareness, which is good. I'm always surprised how expensive the sponsorship is. I think in some cases it might come down to, is this just something I really want? Like, wouldn't it be cool to see my name at the Lex? I don't know. But I also, like, I'm into golf now. Would it be cool to see my name at a golf course? Yeah, it'd be kind of cool. Probably not worth it, but I think it'd be cool.
I think that's maybe a whole other conversation because I think people have their biases.
Yeah.
And I've noticed lots of people will talk about, oh, I don't do marketing, or they think marketing just means like sign advertising at the golf course, and it's or the Lex or something like that. And I think again, there's a time and place for it.
Yeah.
But how does it fit into what you're getting and your overall marketing budget? So if you have a marketing budget and you allocate so much just to impressions and awareness, and then so much to maybe again down the funnel interactions, as you spread that out, and depending how much it is, that's why you see like all the banks, sponsor that because they just want their logo in
Sure.
lots of different places, and it's cheap for them. So it's like, they'll spend $5,000 to put it on the fence at the fair because the alternative is, a billboard that's $20,000 or something like that. Whereas if you're a small business and you don't even have a website, you probably shouldn't spend, $1,000 on a sign where only a few people will see it.
Yeah, that's a good point. We should talk about this another time, but
Yeah, let's we'll put that on the list for like how to make those decisions because I'm fascinated by it.
Yeah.
Because we all have limited resources and making those decisions. But yeah, business community, we have our Monday morning coffees here. So entrepreneur, come any Monday morning, 8:30, get some coffee at Thrive with some other business owners. Some new businesses starting up. I think the fall, is going to be neat for businesses doing events. I think, again, impact of pandemic, I think people are just seizing the opportunity to like continue to do activities, look for things to do.
Yeah.
We're leading into the Christmas season, which I think will be fascinating. We've kind of missed a few Christmases for like family parties and stuff. So, we had some conversations with like, the Sweet Kitchen, which will be released in a couple weeks, but you can pre-order desserts and stuff for those. I think businesses like that for like Christmas parties, Thanksgiving parties, like you haven't seen your like family or friends that much in a few years. Like why bother cooking? Like just buy some stuff, show up, have a good time versus sinking all the time into prepping.
Oh, for sure.
I think that's maybe a trend or something that's going to happen. So.
Yeah, we could see, like, again, we talk a little bit about boomers. I don't know if we say them by name, but younger generations that are more interested in quality. So whether that's quality food, quality items, quality time, like myself, I don't really love doing a lot of stuff when I've got friends over. Family might be different because I'm trying to get away from them or whatever at the barbecue. But when I've got friends over in the summer and we're barbecuing, like I don't want to spend a lot of time at the barbecue. I want everything prepped. I want to be able to spend more time with those people, hang out with my kids more. So I'm all for paying a little bit more for actual quality.
Yeah, that's awesome. I'm trying to think if we know of any other businesses opening or big events that's happened.
It's fall fair season. Like you've got the Lex, you've got Bob Cajun. I swear there's maybe a couple more. You're seeing a lot of apple orchards, and we just missed talking about the sunflower farm. Did you see it on Highway 7 and 35? It was gorgeous. And I think everyone in Lindsay, it seemed like, was there at one point to get some photos, and it was truly incredible. I hope that they come back next summer. I wanted to reach out to them. I didn't think we were going to have time, and like just with their seasonality, but like we should talk about getting them out here because I do think it's like an interesting conversation. I want to know what else they have going on. Like, do they just spend all year planning for this? There's no way they can make an entire year's worth of salary. So like, I'm kind of curious, like, what's their passion? What's their interests? And then also like the scary part for them, not to mansplain. I don't know anything about the business other than like it was there and it was supposed to close on a Sunday. And I drove by on a Thursday and I'm like, those sunflowers are dead. Like it didn't look like it did days earlier. So like they lost and they were supposed to close on Sunday. They weren't open on Sunday. I don't remember Saturday. No, sorry, I do. I remember driving by and just my feeling being like, if I was a consumer, I'd be kind of mad that I paid for this because like the flowers didn't look the way they did a couple of days earlier.
It's such a short window.
It's such a short window, and it's not criticism at them at all because like I truly think what they did was incredible, and I want them to come back, and I want them to do it again and again and come up with more things. I love it. But from our conversation, like what's the business behind like something so intangible? Like these flowers that are beautiful for a minute and then they're gone. And like, how do you market that? How did you get how do they make it go viral? Maybe it was like literally just so beautiful that everyone was talking about it. So,
it's cool. Did it cost money to get your picture taken there?
Yeah, I don't remember how much it was. It was very reasonable though. Like a part of me was like, this is going to be crazy expensive. I thought it was reasonable. I had one person, and I think maybe it was my sister, so that makes a bit of sense, where she was surprised that it cost money, and I just rolled my eyes.
Oh, well,
I think my sister's a communist, maybe, so.
Well, coming from my living on farm, there's a large segment of the population that thinks farms are public land. One fun example is I went to my in-laws and I was like, "Oh, who's picking apples out front?" And they were like, "What?" And someone had like brought a ladder and was like in their field, like up on a tree picking apples without permission. It's not just a park. We had a neighbor who had a sunflower crop, and people just pulled over on the side of the road and like hopped the fence and trampled to get like their pictures. So to do it as a business and have an admission and set it up so it's like, for pictures and the coolness is really cool. But yeah, your window is really short to be able to do that. We did actually a funny thing a few years ago. We had some sunflowers at our place, and then when they were all dying, I had some friends with kids over, and they like did like a pretend like sad family picture in front of them, and it's like a really funny photo, so there's still maybe some value in that, but it'd be a cool conversation to have.
I think so.
And just looking at those types of event places, and that's a whole other business that we'll reach out and get some maybe guests on the podcast to talk about those windows. But that stuff's happening, and I guess if we can give one thing is remember that it is a business, and when people are doing these things, spend some money there, especially if you want it to exist in the future.
Right. Okay. So I was quickly looking at their name because we haven't given them a name. It's the Sunflower Farm. I know that they've got one in Beaverton. Holy smokes! They got 11,000 followers on Instagram,
Yeah,
and they're opening up pumpkins in a couple weeks.
awesome.
That's a good idea. Anyways,
Yeah.
we should have them on. Anyways,
Pumpkins, yeah, maybe not in October because I had a family member who had a very popular pumpkin farm near Bob Cajun, and it's an intense little bit of business because your window is short for a lot of volume of stuff. So,
yeah.
and I recommend not washing pumpkins in the cold because it's like the worst job ever if you have to help out. So, any other final thoughts or anything happening?
No, I'm just excited to see where this next couple months go. Like, I think there's just so much opportunity now that it's not September and everything. So it's an exciting time of year.
Awesome. Alrighty. Well, thank you for listening. If you know of something going on and you'd like us to talk about it, you can send us an email. If you'd like to be on the podcast for a conversation about your business, we'd love to do that as well. You can check us out at kawarthasmallbusinesspodcast.ca, or you could just set it up via email at setitup@kawarthasmallbusinesspodcast.ca.